Hello, hello. Hey, everyone. I am Rita with Happy Catalyst, and I am back today with another special guest. Our theme that we're working with for the month of February is creating the life you love. Okay. Now, we're also celebrating love for the whole month of February. What a great excuse with it being Valentine's or the month for Valentine's. But I want to bring this next guest on. This is a long-term friend or longtime friend and colleague of mine. She's been on this journey with me for quite some time. We have an incredible history, but I have to say I'm super excited about introducing you to her. And so her name is Noella, and she's a bit of a creative type being, but I am so excited to be bringing her to you. So thank you for joining me today. If you're catching us on the replay, let me know that you're catching us on the replay. Now, I am all about love, guys. I'm all about creating that life that you love. And so that's probably going to be the theme that comes out of my mouth from this point forward, because I've really realized what I'm super passionate about. And again, there's a lot of things I love, and I'm a multi-passionate person, but the love is something that I think all of us are looking for. We're all looking for that creative path in our life that we can wake up and do the things that we love, whether that is in a career, whether that's creating a business, a ministry, writing a book, whatever that is, it's stepping in that creative flow of who we are. We are all creators, and it's stepping into that ability to create. So without further ado, I'm going to bring Noella on. So bear with me one second here. Here we go. You are on, Noella.
Hi.
This is my friend and colleague, Noella. We have been on this journey for a while. And interestingly enough, we're probably talking 24 years, maybe 23 years, or is that pushing it? Somewhere around there?
20 plus years, yeah.
Yes, yes. Noella is a little bit younger than I am, but age, it's funny because she was my first, I guess, younger friend. And I don't think it ever mattered. There was never really any gap there. And but the one thing that I love about Noella is that when she came into my life, I was a lot of change had taken place, and a lot of change had taken place in her life too. We were both coming out of something. Okay. I had just recently was going through a divorce, and I had moved back to Hopkinsville, Kentucky. And so and then went back to the church, my hometown church, and I was there for a while and decided that maybe wasn't the place for me and wanted to make a change. And so I moved from that church to another church, and that's where Noella and I had met. And so Noella was an interesting creature, and a different type of friend than I had ever had. And but once we connected, we have definitely been journeying. It's been an interesting path that we both had, because we were hot and heavy in the beginning, and then life changed. There was changes between, things that had happened, and then we kind of drifted to some degree. And I moved to Florida. She moved off to San Antonio, Texas. And our lives, but then they came back together, and it's just been a beautiful story. And I'm so very grateful to have you in my life. And she has definitely been there and saw me take this roller coaster ride, and really it has been there for me to support me during the highs and the lows. And so I just want to thank you for that, Noella, for being there for me and supporting me. And it's interesting that her being so much younger, I guess maybe she's been a little bit more wiser, but I've been wiser at times, though. I have to give myself a little bit of credit. But anyway, so Noella is what I want to talk to her about, or have her share with you today, is that we're all about creating the life that we love. And so currently, Noella is an artist, and the life that she's created is very different, because like most of the people that I work with, or excuse me, within the community that I created, we're on social media, we're doing different things like that. Noella has created this business, okay, where she's not on social media. And yet, we're being told, well, if you have a business, you have to be on social media. Well, maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe it's a choice. And so I just really commend her for standing in her truth, taking a talent, taking a desire, and to growing it. So let's start off talking about how you got started on the creative path, and tell them exactly what you do.
Okay. Well, so I face and body paint, and I also do regular makeup as well, but mainly primarily I face and body paint. And so how it got started was just this. I had this attraction for. I mean, I've always loved art. I've always loved anything in the arts. Um, and I think I was so attracted to um, the transformative sort of power of it. Like I would see these amazing things being painted on people, and I would just think, oh, that's so cool. And also in the same like slash, oh, I could totally do that.
Yeah.
And I was going to college and just trying to have a normal life, and even though like I was pretty good at faking it, it was just I knew it was just not for me. And it was so funny because it took somebody else to point it out to me. I was saying something about the job that I was in at the time, and this guy said, well, of course you don't fit in there because you're an artist. And it was like ding ding ding. But it took somebody else to say that because I never really considered myself an artist. And I
Wow.
just thought, what is it about me and everybody in the room was like, yeah. So it was so funny because it was like, I already am what I am, even though I'm trying to be this other normal thing. And so those are seeds.
Yeah.
But just the belief really that I could do that. Um, And initially, I just wanted to do it. I wasn't even trying to build a career out of it or anything. First of all, I just kind of wanted to see, like, I knew I had the potential, but I wanted to see if I could do it. And so I just started. I just started small. I booked a few little parties, and I'd never done anything. I don't even think I really practiced. I don't know. I just thought I'm going to do this.
Yeah. The thing that was so amazing about what Noella does now. So in Sarasota, when my granddaughter actually lived with us at the time, we would go to Chick-fil-A, and there would be the face painter, and she would do the face painting, and they were tipping $2 or $3 here, whatever. And when Noella would tell me about what she did and how she was being supported by it, I kept on thinking, okay, this woman is at Chick-fil-A, okay, and people won't even barely give her, including myself, and I'm thinking, how is she? I know, and I'm ashamed.
Kidding.
Um,
Kidding.
but it made me think, like, okay, she's doing this as a career, and you were still, even then, a number of years ago. You know what I'm saying? You've just been growing, growing, growing.
Yeah.
And I was amazed at your ability to manifest monetarily in that way, because that's not the case with a lot of face painters. I mean,
Right.
they're like nickel and diming it. Now, again, things are changing and the value, it's changing, but that's what impressed me so much about you, is that you had that capability. And I want you to tell the story about the day that the other gentleman at the place that you go and do the face painting had sowed the seed
Okay.
of how
Right.
much he made,
Right.
or you could make in a day.
Right.
Share that story.
And this is a long time ago. This is what, at least 5, 6 years ago, right? At
Yeah.
this point?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a long time ago. Um, Again, I knew, like, I always knew what I needed to make to cover my bills and da 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 da. And somehow I always would make that, you know what I mean? But I definitely had a sort of preconceived idea about how much I was going to make at this particular place, because it wasn't like an event where you're getting paid by the hour. It's an event where people come up and they just pay per thing. And so one of the people that worked there, his character was Captain Jack from the Pirates of the Caribbean, and he was so good at what he did and amazing, and he was just kind of nonchalantly saying, yeah, on a double, I'm making at least $1,000. And I was like, wait, what? And then he tried to like justify it and be like, well, I'm here all day. And I was like, oh, no, hold on. I'm so happy to hear that you make that. Like, I'm so happy to hear that you're here living your best life, being this crazy character, which he loved doing, by the way, and that you're making that. And it put this idea in my head that, oh, that's possible. Like, that's just a number that I didn't think was, like, I wasn't even thinking about that number before. He's kind of like the thing with the artist when he was like, well, you're an artist. Well, I make $1,000 a day. It was the same thing. It was like, oh, ding, ding, ding. Again, I attracted that into my life and I was ready to receive it. And it was like the same thing with the artist thing. It was like, oh, right. You know what I mean? It's all these, like, I think about it now, it's all these little things that I attracted, these people that came in and, held up a mirror, and then I just received it and ran with it. So then I was like, I'm going to make $1,000 a day. And, long story short, I did, I did more than that, and so then it just raised it again for me, where I was like, the limits are just the ones that we set on ourselves,
Right. Yeah.
So go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was going to say that, you've shared this with me before and we've talked about it, but it hit me just now that the impact of your life and how non-resistant you have been to things like that has truly impacted me, because my creativity, everybody has the creativity. It's going to look differently.
Right.
And that's the part that, you sharing your stories, you leveling up to what you want and allowing it has impacted my life. It sowed seeds of like, I just need to believe it. I just need to know it's possible. And that's what we were talking about prior to getting on this call, was when you know something is possible. And that's what I love about Noella's life, because the people that I'm going to be bringing on here, their lives are going to look differently. That creative process and what they love is going to look differently. So it's not about necessarily, oh, I want to copy her, I want to copy that. It's about giving people hope that their creative process is such a beautiful thing and you can trust it. You can really trust that creative process to support you if you recognize, number one, you have it, and it can look any different way. I mean, who knows what it could look like, but just that we are here stating the possibilities, and those things will show up in your own life, and there'll be those little seeds. The question is, are you recognizing them as seeds? Are you really, or are you just dismissing them and thinking, well, that's not going to happen to me?
When Captain Jack said that, I was like, this is for me. This was for me. This was no freaking accident. Like,
yes.
So yeah, that's being ready too, is like, but I've been in this place of, Noella, be open, be ready. Noella, be open, be ready,
Yes.
And then let me just say this, and this is not a judgment on you, but this is just an observation I have. You want to live your best life. You want to live your creative life. When you see other people out there living their best creative life and you're like, oh no, that's too expensive, you're just doing that to yourself. You know what I mean? Like like, you're like, I'm not going to tip it. And to be fair, if you're at like a Chick-fil-A, they're paying you by the hour. So nobody's just there for their health, trust me, they pay them by the hour to be there. But this is what I like. For myself, I caught this in myself a long time ago when I would say go to the farmer's market or go other places where people are doing things and maybe it's a little bit more expensive than what you'd see at the grocery store because they've handmade it. There's a lot of reasons why something costs what it costs. I was like, you know what? You want to live your best creative life, Noella, then you have to embrace them too. Doesn't mean you have to buy everything. But your attitude about people who are doing this, if you're in your head saying, well, that's too expensive and like, right. It's like, it is what it is and it costs what it costs. You don't have to buy it. You don't have to support everybody through your money. If you don't have it, then, respect your budget. But energetically, the story you're telling about what other people are doing and how much they're charging, be aware of that, because especially if you're out here trying to create something and do something, because then that's just going to come back to you. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah. No, I mean, you're right, because,
but it was
as
just something
far
that
as,
I noticed in
yeah,
myself. That's why I'm
yeah,
saying it. Yeah.
yeah,
Sorry. Go ahead.
yeah. I mean, no, I think that as entrepreneurs or anyone that wants to do something and then monetarily be supported by it, the money thing is always that little area that we're going to have to overcome.
Right.
And,
Right.
and it's
And
more than just,
embrace.
right. And what it does is it boils down to a belief. There's
Yes.
some people that can just energetically line up to that abundance factor.
Right.
Um, and I think the more and more, though, that we demonstrate it, and the more and more that people see it, with
Right.
shows like this, with the Happy Catalyst, that they're
Right.
going to be able to see that, oh, they're going to, where it took us maybe a little bit longer, that
Sure.
we are bridging a
Well,
gap.
because we've already brought that forward, so they're taking
Exactly.
off from this point. And this
Yeah.
is the thing about lining up energetically. It's not one big decision. It's all these little decisions we
Yeah.
make, and oh, that's too expensive, or it's all these little things that nickel and dime our own abundance
Yes.
that
Yeah.
I've learned. You know what I mean? Even within my own business, and the price is just the price. Like, I'm not going to have this big response about it. I'm either going to buy it or not. But you know what I mean? Like, they get to charge what they want to charge. That's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, a scripture is coming up in my head that I have to mention, and in Matthew, it talks about, in Matthew 6, it talks about, do not worry about the food you eat, the clothes you wear, do not worry.
Right.
And when I think about when I discovered that passage, and how, like, I wanted to know, like, what do you mean, God, do not worry? like, wrote, this is inspired and written in the Bible, and, like, what does this mean? And so I know for me, this last year, because I've really had to deal with the money subject in my own business, in my own personal life, I realized that it wasn't a matter of understanding it. It was a matter of receiving it. And that was the key, is
That's good.
when you try to understand something, it can jack it up. Okay. And it was the receiving of the gift. It was like this gift that was part of what I call the gift of salvation, is like, oh my gosh, we don't have anything to worry about.
Because I mean, that's the point.
It.
Like, if you're trying to understand it, then you're not receiving it. And they're saying, don't worry, because it's basically something that's just, part of, if you're here, the universe can provide for you, if you want to say God, whatever. So, but if you're not trying to understand it, now you're trying to prove your worthiness. So you're, you know what I mean? Like, you're contradicting yourself. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, again, for me, it took nature. Okay. When I blocked God out for a while, it took nature for God to demonstrate his support for me.
Right.
It took nature. And then I was like, oh, that's how it works.
You know what's so funny is, like, God is everything and everywhere. So you're like, I'm going to block out this version of God. But God's, but that's fine, because I'm over here in the nature, and I'm over here in the water, and you know what I mean? Like,
yes. Well, I mean, it was all given to us to support us.
Right.
And again, it took that nature anyway. It's crazy.
Yeah, I know. I gotcha.
God will use whatever to speak to you. If you can't get it one way, it'll come another way. But no, I mean, I think it's really a beautiful thing that that we can demonstrate, that we can share, we can be vulnerable, and we can just be. And I think the more that we allow ourselves to be, I mean, just like for Noella and I have been talking about doing this for a very long time. And Noella made the comment, well, Rita, I just been waiting on you. It wasn't that I was getting ready. I was waiting on you to be ready. I've been ready the whole time. So, okay, I'll give you that. But I'm so honored that because you didn't have to come on here with me. You didn't have to do this with me, because the difference with Noella right now, some people that may want to come on here, they have a business. They maybe, it would help them to get more exposure. And I love that. I love sharing people and resources that I'm passionate about. But the interesting thing about Noella, she's really not promoting anything other than, what are you promoting? Just being.
Live your best life,
Yeah.
And again, that is so many little things. It's not one big thing. Like you said, you're learning from nature. I mean, I learn from my little princess dog all the time. He just thinks and he gets everything. You know what I mean? It doesn't always come from me either. And I just like, yeah, if he's attracting and creating his own reality, then you know what I mean? Like even my dog is doing it, then you know,
Yes,
anybody can do it. So
yes, yes. I have a friend that had a daughter, that had some medical issues, and she was totally dependent upon her, her parents. And God really taught me so much through her life because they loved that little girl. I mean, it was unbelievable the amount of love that they had for her and the way that they treated her as if there was nothing wrong with her, and they always saw her as whole. And that just really touched my life in such a big way, and God used that relationship with them and her to just speak to me about how much God loves me. And that little girl's life, I mean, just radically changed how I really was able to receive and feel God, because that little girl was treated with so much dignity and so much love, and she didn't have the ability to articulate it, but
right.
she was given that. And it just, I'll never forget when I got that realization of how much God loves us, and to see that demonstrated through her life. And but one of the things I wanted to mention, so we are in the process of doing it's called the Heart-Based Inner Circle, which may be changed to the Heart-Based Creative Circle. But well, I'm toying with changing the inner to the creative, because that's what it's all about. But we'll see what happens. But this is a group that I'm going to be launching towards the end of February. And this group right now is all about women. And Noella, I've asked her to come in and be a part of that. And again, she's kind of been on this journey with me, because again, we are all about creating. It's like now that she's at this part in her life, she's looking at other possibilities. What can I do? So when you get around other women, creatives, and you start collaborating and sharing ideas and sharing your stories, it's like an incubator. It's like an incubator for other types of seeds and passions to be birthed. And so I want to invite each and every one of you that are listening or catching it on the replay, to go over and like Happy Catalyst and just wait for when I launch it, and follow. And, even if you're not ready for, a type of group like that, just keep on watching. I mean, my goal and my heart is to inspire you to step into your creative process or flow, male or female. Because once you get into that space, I'm telling you, there's so much joy and happiness. I mean, the one thing I think about when people are in a normal job, and let's say you're in a place that you just don't want to be anymore, sometimes you just want to jump the track. You want to quit. And I would say, no, you know what? Use that job to fund whatever you want to create. Don't jump and put yourself in a lot of stress, because
Right.
I've done that, believe me. And I'm saying, use that job to fund what you want to create, no matter where that's at. And maybe you don't want to create a business, but you want a better job opportunity. And the creation process is just the same. Whatever you want to create, it's all the same. So one of the things that we're going to be doing inside of the inner circle is that we're going to learn about a lot of creation tools that we can use to get those creative juices flowing. And with the collaboration and the sharing of ideas, it's really a great space to be in, to meet other people that you would not ordinarily meet. Like everybody that Noella is meeting right now, she doesn't know them. And she's getting an opportunity to be right there sitting in her home, meeting people all over the United States and in Canada, which is really cool, because, these are people, and these are all heart-centered women. And that's the thing, is they have an open heart. It's a safe space for women to come where they feel seen, heard, and valued without feeling judgment. They're able to talk and speak things out of their heart. I mean, there's a lot of healing going on with women. And I always think back about, in the older times when the women were in the kitchen and they all cooked together and they talked. I feel like that's the kind of space that I want this circle to be, that we go in there and we can share, we can heal, we can create. And so I just want to put that out there to you guys, just to keep that in mind. If you're in that place where you want to do something and maybe you don't know what, but there's something, starting to stir around in your heart, just know that we're here, we're there, and we would love to have you be a part of that. But Noella, thank you so much for doing this with me. Just to let you guys know, Noella and I will be doing some other things together. We've been brewing up some interesting talks and things like that we're going to be doing. I don't know if it's going to be a podcast or another program, but we're definitely going to be doing this. We've been talking about it too long, and I think the time is now. So I'm super excited about that. So do you have anything else that you would like to say?
It's so funny because 1,000 stories came to my head, but no, that's cool. We can, we'll do another one. And no, it was great doing this. I love that you're doing this. I love that you've started and you're doing it. And yeah, it's great.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, one of the things I want to say is that, again, we've been playing around with a lot of ideas on things that we can do because Noella and I love to play. And when I say that, oh my gosh, we can have some of the best conversations, but we really like playing with others. So if somebody wants to, what I call energetically work something out, we would love to play with you because it is the best way to move through something very quickly. And that is what I have learned. When you've got people in your life or resources that can help you work through something really quick, why would you want to suffer? Okay, it's kind of like let's work.
But you can if you want to.
Right, you can if you want to, but you don't have to.
But you don't have to.
And so I think that, when I think about, there's certain things that you got to go through it. Life happens.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Life happens and you can't control that. But how you perceive it and how you take it into your body, now that's another thing. You can have a choice on how you perceive things. There's so many things about our perception and what we are capable and what we are in control over. And we're more in control over how we see and perceive the world than we think. But we haven't been taught this. And that's what we love to talk about as we're waking up to this and stepping into this. You can go through a horrific situation, but not take in the pain that normally goes with that. So I just encourage you to, if you're watching the replay, let me know you're watching it. Give me some hearts if there's something that resonates with you. Go over and jump on the Happy Catalyst and like it so you can follow and see, inspiring stories. And we'd love to have you check out the Inner Circle. So thank you guys so much for joining us. And we're going to sign off. And I will see you tomorrow with another guest. Thank you so much, Noella. Love you.
Thanks. Bye. Love you too.
Bye. Thanks.